compulsory requirement, it's voluntary requirement. But while very well mentioned about the evolution of CEO, I would like to inform you and our members here that the annual report criteria, which is for the best report award, which is designed by ICAP and ICMAP, it covers this point of evolution of CEO. So the corporate reporting criteria developed by ICAP and ICMAP covers lot of governance requirements which are ahead of the requirement announced by new code. The last thing which is maybe a little critical, but I cannot stop myself mentioning that also. Hashmit Saab in his slide was giving the logo and monograms of professional accountant. I know that professional accountant by definition covers many professionals as per IFAC definition. But Code of Corporate Governance is for companies regulating companies in Pakistan. And under the law of the Pakistan, there are only two institutes which are recognized by the government of Pakistan, that is ICAP and ICMAP. And there were 5 logos. I think that is not relevant here. Here the relevant logos were only of ICAP and ICMAP, which are legally professional accountant as per the law of the country. Thank you.
Do you want me to respond? Basically, Rahim, thank you very much for, these are largely your comments, I think, which I don't think they require any response. You need to include them in the ICAP's. Is there any point question? जी जी तो वो
structured training requirement for 4 years. वो junior होता है, semi-senior होता है. He meets the senior people. He goes lot of training. So we have put the 5 years training requirement for chartered accountant, and we have put our competent chartered accountants at par with MBAs and ACCAs like this, which is not fair with the chartered accountants. And you, as a good speaker and a knowledgeable person, should speak for the benefits of ICAP members that it's unjustified requirement.
Yeah, I agree with your comments to a large extent. I personally believe that, you see, these requirements of qualifications, minimum qualifications for CFO, for company secretary, and for head of internal audit, again are unique to Pakistan's code. I have not seen these requirements in any other code. Unique to Pakistan. Generally, corporate governance requirements are more principle based, and each company has different situation. I agree. You see that you know, the 5 years post qualification requirement could be burdensome, you know, for any. But then there would be a difference. There should be some post qualification requirement, I would say. If the requirement has to be included, I'm personally not in favor of including these requirements as they have been included. I have been saying this about and this is not 2012 code, it is coming largely, it's a similar thing was in 2002 code as well. It is not a good practice globally to include such requirements because each company has different situations. You cannot actually, it's very difficult to enforce these requirements also. But I agree, I mean, if these requirements are to be there, then they need to be rationalized, and there has to be a difference. For instance, a member of the ICAP and some other professional body, there would be difference in terms of quality.
Sir, if you notice the frequently asked questions on that CFO part, you'll notice that not only the chartered accountants for the 5-year experience, if someone is having the degree of CA from abroad and having a 5-year experience for some other country as well, that is recognized as a CFO. Keeping in mind the Pakistan requirement and the challenges the industry is facing, those persons are also made qualified to be the CFO, whereas they doesn't have any experience of any Pakistani industry. That is very unique, and that need to be addressed with the same thing which Abdur Rahim has mentioned.
I can contribute a little bit on your concerns. I think the basic issue is that should there have been any qualification indicated in the code for the role of the CFO. And Asad Saab has rightly pointed out that the Pakistan code is perhaps unique in the sense that it goes and establishes qualifications of a CFO. The rationale behind this is really in two ways. One is that there is a requirement that the financial statements should be signed by the CFO of a listed company. So there is a undertaking which is a major responsibility which the CFO has. Now, if the financial statements are management statements, then obviously there is a implicit or an implied undertaking when you sign that the CFO has knowledge of everything that is contained as far as accounting principles are concerned, as policies are concerned, as far as international accounting standards are concerned. If one did not prescribe a limiting qualification, then you could have situations of a person who is qualified as a chartered accountant, who is appointed as a CFO of a listed company with no experience at all. So it was to avoid situations like that from happening that this thing was put in. Having said that, I think I clarified that the SECP is on a case-by-case basis looking at experienced qualified people who have been made CFOs of listed companies and who may not have 5 years experience of listed companies. So that is being looked at and exempted by SECP on a case-by-case basis. They're not doing it as a universal thing, because I think it would be unfair to do it on a universal thing. Because you could have situations where the large family listed concerns would get hold of chartered accountants with no experience and put them in as CFOs of listed companies. How do you stop that?
There are possibilities that a person is working in industry for the last 10 years, not in the listed company, but now by this code, he is barred from being the CFO of a listed company. That is the main thing that is missing, basically.
It's, I think let's accept that if you are a chartered accountant, then whether you are in a listed company or you are in a non-listed company, you are required to abide by a certain